I think what's really fascinating about your story is, you've really become a pretty well-respected executive in the risk space, but kind of your background is kind of somewhere from a college which maybe not as known to be working in finance. So I was wondering maybe you could talk a bit about that, about how you got your start, and especially why you made a choice to start working with the federal government kind of coming out of school.
Yeah, sure. So you're right. I actually went now we call it community college. I went the junior college route, and then at San Jose State, which has a good tech and engineering program, was not known certainly for its economics and finance background. And as I went to school there, I was playing on a rugby team, and I was working my way through school. So we didn't have the funds for it. So I was working at night through school, and I couldn't land any of the internships. Sorry about that. In the internships that I saw other people from other schools getting. A group of us got together one day, and we sort of joked and said, we should just start our own bank. If we started our own bank, then we could run it, and we would learn how to run it. And that morphed from a joke to deciding to start a credit union. And so we wrote a business paper, and it won for the school the business paper of the year about how you would go about starting a credit union for students. We executed on that plan. We went out to investors and looked for them to invest in the form of deposits into the credit union. We went to the federal government, the NCUA, that provides deposit insurance at credit unions, and we really balanced the two. We told the investors, if we can get deposit insurance, would you put deposits in this credit union to get it started? And went to the federal government and said, if we could get the deposits, would you give us the insurance? And we were able to land both of them. And we started this credit union for students, run by students.
I guess taking that even a little bit more broadly, is there a way that students today could even take that knowledge of, a lot of times you feel really good about what you have, but you oftentimes don't know what you don't know. So is there any kind of ways that you might suggest, like throughout, and that probably happens throughout your career, to kind of watch out for those unmitigated risks? So I was wondering if maybe you could talk about maybe how you can do that through your career of
yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And it takes, you can do it through education and reading. It is a lot easier now because there's so much information on the web and videos that you can look up subjects and get a initial grounding in what those things are. But I do think it's really important to recognize that when you start out your career and you come out of school, there is a tremendous amount. You're at a level where you don't even know what you don't know. And the next level you're trying to get to is just to know what you don't know so that you can study and work on it. And after that, you're trying to get to the next level of that, the things you need to know to be successful in your career. And so I think that is a process that everybody needs to go through, certainly in the finance industry, in order to be successful.
And then I think what's also pretty fascinating about your career is just the fact that you stayed at one place for an extended period of time, which is fairly unusual. And I know that's a lot to do with probably Schwab's culture and a few other factors, but I was maybe wondering if you could opine on why you decided to stay for such a long period of time. And then how do you think young professionals should think about their careers in that context?
Yeah, I think everybody has to think about what they want out of their career and what gives them internal satisfaction, makes them feel good. I worked in the international capital markets, in credit risk, and international trading rooms in Brazil and Hong Kong and Mexico and different places when I was at different points in my career. Those environments are great for some people. They're really alpha environments. They were very much, from my perspective, about the individual seeing how much money they could make themselves. And sometimes the products and things that were being sold to clients, what I found was it was good for the salesperson, but not good for the client. And you have to look inside yourself and say, does that make me feel good? And when I came to Schwab, I found really a very different culture from that perspective. I got an opportunity to work with Chuck Schwab early on. And the difference I saw between the institutions really could be summed up. The old companies I worked at, or company I worked at, we would talk about how much of a product we could sell and how much we would make on each product. And that was the key part of that meeting. The first meeting I was in with Chuck, and we were talking about new products, it was about, how can this help the client? How will the client appreciate this? How can we make it easier for them to use? Would you put your family in this product? And we went through the whole meeting and never talked about how much money we would make on it or how many units we would sell. And I thought, this is weird. It's a strange sort of place. Chuck's view was, look, if we make products that are honest and fair for people, they will come to us. They will bring us their assets. They will trust us, and we will make money. We'll be okay, right? Just be fair with people. So I think that's a key thing for people. Once you find some place that helps fill all of those needs that you're trying to find in your career, then I hope you'll stay there. I did. I found this place at Schwab, and I decided early on, this is the place I'm staying.